Long nights and early mornings, feeling misunderstood and lonely, constant hard work and self-doubt. This is all part of having the courage to chase your dreams and become successful. Are you going to take the risk? I have, and it's worth it. Don't be afraid to take risk and fail. These are the experiences that will help you grow and evolve into a better version of yourself. Start today, be better tomorrow.
Welcome to the JA Guam Podcast. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in the podcast belong solely to the host and guests, and not necessarily to Junior Achievement Guam or its affiliates.
Welcome to week 5 of JA's Student Company Program. Today we have, of course, Pinki, our Executive Director, who will give us a little bit of what's going on this week. And we also have a student officer, Kiara Dela Rosa from Tejan High. And we'll get a little bit of information about Kiara. And best of all, we have Jay Jones in the house. And he'll be talking a little bit about, as the Senior Vice President of Triple J, some of his roles and responsibilities. And I know this week we're going to be talking about some meetings. Okay, Pinki. I know the last 4 weeks have been real busy on setting up the company program, just their companies, their officers, etc. So what's in store for them on week 5?
Okay, so week 5 is the business opportunity phase, where everything comes together as a group. They just finished electing their officers, so now the officers get to attend and conduct board meetings. And so that's what meeting 5 is all about. And it's implementing the business program, their strategy, solidifying the business plan if it hasn't already been solidified. And so what does that mean? By week 5, you all should know what you're selling, if it's a product or a service. So this is super cool. It's an exciting time because all the ideas start to formulate, and then you're going to start figuring out how to promote the business and all that fun stuff. So it's an exciting time. And so students will be able to initiate the organization and or production of the product, as well as maintain accurate, organized departmental records of all your transactions. So there is some work that needs to be done, and that's why the dynamic of having a secretary of the board and all that fun stuff, so you can stay on top of the administrative detail stuff. And then your VP of Finance has to handle and oversee all the expenses, as well as the sales and the profits, and stay on top of the stocks and all that fun stuff. So I don't mean to overwhelm you, because I'm overwhelmed and I'm not even an officer, but I'm just really excited because I get to sneak peek and observe some of these teams start to gel and start to create that synergy that's so needed when you're running your own organization. And I'm really excited. Thank you so much for Jay Jones jumping on today. I can't wait to hear all of your recommendations. They've been contributing to our community, and gosh, so many people are employed with them, and they run so many different businesses. So to have Mr. Jones on the call is just really exciting. So kids, make sure you grab your pen and pencil, and students rather, and make sure you take the best notes and pick up all the important pieces of information and hats and so forth from Mr. J. Jones today. So without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic back to Meg.
Okay, thank you. Let's meet Kiara. Kiara, come on front and center. Hi, Kiara. I'm so glad you joined us today. You were elected. Thank you for jumping in at the last minute also. But tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you doing these days?
So especially with the pandemic currently going on, I've mainly just been working with school, and it's kind of difficult, online and everything. But for the most part, it's been pretty good.
Okay, so this is, you were telling me this isn't your first year with Junior Achievement. You've been with JA how many years?
This is my second year in JA, but it is my first year as an officer.
Okay, and you weren't elected, you got to be assigned.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Well, at first I was a bit startled because last year I was just an employee, I wasn't an officer, but it does have its benefits. It really gives me an idea of what it's like in the real world after high school when you are in a work field. So this is just giving me a little heads up of what to expect when I do get out there.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kiara, and welcome. Okay, Jay.
Hi.
Okay. Hi, Jay. I'm so glad. And yes, you gave me a hard time that I did say Jeff. Just for everybody out there, when I first came to Guam, I worked for Triple J for about 3 years. And so Jay, Jeff, Joe, Julie, they all kind of confuse me. So it's kind of like family where I'm going to just say, hey, you. But anyways, Jay, thanks a ton for coming on today. You guys have been supporting JA for quite some time. I know you had your children in JA, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so as you know, this week we're going into Board of Directors meetings. As a senior VP at Triple J, you guys have your own meetings that you have to do, Board of Directors meetings within there. And then I know you're also with a few different organizations, nonprofits, et cetera, that you sit on the boards that you're giving to. So can you just kind of talk about Board of Directors meetings, what makes a good meeting, what makes bad meetings, how do you kind of do it? And then we'll just kind of keep going from there.
Sure. Pretty broad topic, but to drill down, I think to what's kind of the question that a lot of people have, especially in JA, would be, well, with Board of Directors meetings, there's very formal Board of Directors meetings. Like with Triple J, we'll have one Board of Directors meeting a year, and that's a very formal meeting. Basically, it's a legal requirement, and as well as it's actually more of a legal requirement than a business requirement. But I think like Board of Directors meetings I'm the chairman of the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Guam and CNMI, so we have Board of Directors meetings every other month, and so that's a meeting that is more of a procedural meeting, more of a check things off a list and get work done kind of meeting. And so those are also fairly formal. You have to plan. You got to have an agenda, of course. You got to know what your plan is going to be before you go into the meeting. With directors meetings, you're going to need to talk to the secretary. You're going to need to talk to the treasurer. You're going to need to talk to the different committees. You're going to make sure you want to get to everybody on your agenda. So I think the agenda is probably the most important thing for a meeting, and to have a plan before you go into it. That would be my number one recommendation. And then and for meetings in general, I think one big one is just to know who you want to have there. Sometimes if you have too many people in a meeting, it gets hard to get stuff done. So maybe you just want to have the executive committee in certain meetings. Maybe you just want to have the officers in certain meetings, so that you can be a little more efficient and get things done a little more efficiently. And then other meetings, you want to have a broader consensus, and you want to have more people there. So knowing exactly who to invite to that meeting is also a very important decision going into it as well.
So what do you think, okay, beyond that, what do you think is a good meeting? I mean, when you go into a meeting, sometimes you go into a meeting, especially if it's a monthly meeting, it can be kind of rote and it can be kind of boring. So how do you kind of decide, wow, this was an awesome meeting, we got a lot accomplished, and this was like a total waste of my time? Because sometimes in business, that's just it. It's like we meet, but not get anything done.
It's a great question. I think a lot of that has to do with just deciding, first of all, do you even need a meeting? Are you just doing the meeting because it's like, the next, it's on the list of things to do? Sometimes you don't even need a meeting. And And those are the worst meetings, right? The ones where everyone feels like they're just spinning their wheels and wasting their time. Is because, why am I even here? So that's probably a meeting that could have been an email, and sometimes you just need to decide, is that the case? Is a meeting even necessary? But I think the best meetings are typically the ones that are well run. You know exactly what you expect going into it. You have some idea of how long it's going to last, and the chair doesn't let the meeting go off in tangents, which is, I think, probably that is the most important role of a chair in most situations, is just to keep the meeting on track and keep moving forward and keep everyone rowing in one direction. And because I've been in a lot of terrible meetings, where the chair just lets the meeting get out of control, and you're just talking about stuff that's not even relevant, and it's just spinning off the rails, and then there's other chairs that just keep everybody in line and just keep checking boxes and working the way through the meeting, and those are usually the best meetings for me, the ones that are fast, efficient, and productive.
Okay, do you normally like to have everybody speaking at your meetings, or is it kind of a give and take? Do you like the give and take, or is it top down?
Well, yeah. Well, with like the Make-A-Wish committee, we have a rather large board. I think there's 15 or 16 of us right now. So that's a large meeting that can at times be a challenge to keep moving forward. But everybody needs to be, if you're at the meeting, if you're at the table, you should be given the opportunity to speak if you have something to say. If you probably shouldn't be there if you're not allowed to speak. So that would be my opinion on that. So you just have to have a chair that like I said, is able to recognize when things are going off on tangents and you're not accomplishing the tasks, and to rein people back in and keep them going in the right direction, keep them going towards the goal.
Okay. I just wrote down, agenda, who's to attend, like you just said. Don't have people at the meeting that don't need to be there to speak, or that's going to disseminate the information later on. Make sure that everybody knows what the expectations is of a meeting, and then I guess what I kind of took from it is time constraints around the meetings. So make sure if this is going to be a half-hour meeting, you get 5 minutes, and cut them off after 5 minutes. And the students, a lot of the officers just went through this at the one of the icebreakers we did, is that the students only had 1 minute to introduce themselves, and they had 2 or 3 things they had to do. They had to fill it all up, but at the same time, if they went over, they were just cut off. So Joe is really trying to show everybody about time constraints. And the last thing is, like you said, focus and control. And I think with the time constraints, that really helps that focus control.
Yeah, the time is really important, but you want to allow enough time, right? I mean, you don't want the people to feel like they haven't been able to give their input or to make a contribution, right? So the time, it is important to have a time goal, but leaving enough time to actually accomplish the tasks you need to accomplish are important, because that could be just as big a waste of time as any is going into a meeting where you don't resolve anything because you've rushed through everything, right? Or because you haven't given enough time to to accomplish the goals. So that's an important one as well. Yes.
Okay. So Kiara, do you have any questions for him off the top of the head regarding meetings or setups before we move on?
No, that was very, very informative, and I get the idea of what our team should be doing now.
Okay, great. So I guess, Jay, I'm going to ask, one of the things is like these kids just, the students all just put together their companies and they're just starting off, and you've been involved. And I just want to talk about Jenna for a minute. And she's one of those people who I, might be interviewing also as an alumni. But I guess what I would want to know is, because you support us, JA supports a lot of community programs. But what do you find with JA? What kind of attracts you to Junior Achievement as a sponsor and an advisor? And then also, what did you see happen with Jenna? What benefits did it bring to your kids that attended JA?
Well, so on the first front, I think Triple J's been around for 35 years now, and we plan to be around for at least another 35 years. And so finding, recruiting, and keeping good talent has always been a challenge from the very beginning. Is good finding good people. And JA is just one more of those ways to help build the talent pool on island, so that we have good people to hire for good jobs. So anything that we can do. We're a very small community, as everybody knows, and that comes with various challenges, and one of those can be human resources, and finding good human resources to help grow your company and to provide the products and services that your customers want. And one thing that we've noticed over the years is that a large number of our students don't return to Guam from college, so that even narrows the talent pool even further. So yeah, just helping to grow the range of talent on island, and the number of qualified applicants on island is, JA's a great way to do that. And like you said, my kids are good examples of that I've witnessed firsthand. My son Jake and my daughter Jenna both were in junior achievement. They both were presidents of their organizations, and just amazing experiences for them, and for me as a father, being able to watch them go through it and watch how much they learned, and it was very cool. It was just reinforced my desire to keep helping and to remain part of the program.
Okay, so any other suggestions or words of wisdom to the students? Is they're, like I said, they now have their company. I think they have to work on their commercials pretty soon this week, but now that they're kind of got their product, got their stock sales, they have the capital building, any next steps or any words of wisdom, because now it's going to be into the hustle. Now they have to start really working.
I would say that the most important thing in any company, I think, is building a team and having that team atmosphere where people want to work together and they want to succeed as a group. And I would say really just spend some time on building that team and making sure that everybody on your team feels like they have a role and feels like they have a goal and feels like they're part of the solution and part of the success. And it's hard, when you're a chairperson or a president or whatever, you feel like you got all these jobs you have to do and all these goals you have to accomplish, and you feel like you want to just do it myself, and just I'll get it over with, get it done. But that doesn't create that team atmosphere that you need to be a success. And I think especially in JA, I think the experiences that they have in JA will translate directly to their experiences in the business community and further in life. It's just the same thing. You think that grown-ups are so much different and they behave so much differently, but they don't. It's a lot of it's very similar to what you're experiencing right now in junior achievement and in your small companies. It's just on a bigger scale.
Yeah, I agree. I think employee engagement is the biggest, and they have to believe that they belong to something bigger than themselves and just not the job. They want to, you want to buy because, as they bring more value to the company, that's where they move up and that's where they give back. And so again, I think belonging and knowing what the goals are and just having management that will delegate, because I do see that with a lot of officers. They, a lot of times it's go-getters, so they end up wanting to do it all. And then they're complaining at the end that I'm the one who's doing everything and everybody left because you didn't bring them in. So that's
exactly
word of wisdom right there.
Yeah, I think that's number one.
Okay. Thank you a ton. Let's bring everyone back together. Okay, so wraps up week 5. But before we sign off and say goodbye to Jay and Kiara and Pinki, anybody have any questions for Jay or Kiara, each other?
I was wondering, since we are high school students and we will be entering the work field soon, do you have any tips for us for when we do start working?
Yes, I would say that experience, no matter how big or small, is important. As employers, we just want to see, that you're willing to put yourself out there, you're willing to do any kind of job, that you just want to work, and it's hard, when you talk to someone who's just out of high school or just out of college even, and they have not done they haven't worked for anyone really, and you basically just taking a wild guess to whether or not they're going to be a productive member of your team, but go out there. JA is a great thing for your resume, just to show people that you're willing to work as part of a business, and just take jobs, take different small jobs, big jobs, any kind of experience to show that you can work for a boss and you can take instructions and you can follow instructions. All of those things are really important for employers to see. Internships, just any of those things, or do as much as you can, is my point, to show your potential employers that you can work. You can work for a boss, you can take instructions, you can follow their lead, and you can accomplish goals and tasks. That'll go a long way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like one of the things that schools recommend now or require is in community involvement, right? Giving back. And so things like, even if you have something on the side like babysitting, cutting somebody's lawn, caregiving for grandparent, whatever it might be, that's a job. Even though you're not maybe getting paid money, it is a job. It's a responsibility that you took on, you handled it. And that's one of them, because it's really about showing up. It's how do you show up, and then also showing up on time. That's a big one. You don't want to have a whole lot of excuses. If the car is down, or I can't do this, or I forgot that. It's kind of like in school, no excuse for not having your homework done. But in business, it's like there's no excuse for being late because you ran out of gas or something like that. So it is those smaller responsibilities. So, but no, I believe in JA. Like I said, it's a bit over 27 years that I've been doing it. And the reason why is because of what it does for our talent pool on Guam. So it's all good stuff. If there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and sign off. Thank you again, Pinki, Kiara, and especially you, Jay, for taking time out of your busy day. We already appreciate it. We appreciate your sponsorship and your support. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. All right. Good luck, everyone.
Okay, adios.